there's nothing for me to do here. This apartment complex, we have that neighborhood, and then down the road we have another neighborhood that we own. And I'll send one of my guys from my office over here once a week or once every other week, and he will tour each one of the properties and just make sure everything's fine. He'll talk to the people that are here on site that take care of things for us. And the guy that takes care of my neighborhood takes care of this apartment complex too. So I only got one guy that does both of them. But he'll check and make sure they don't need anything and see if he sees anything out of line. And if I see something out of line, I'll tell him, you know, Nick and I came up, the sign was dirty, we had to clean the sign. I don't like that, so we got to address that issue and make sure that's being taken care of, because the property needs to look a very certain way. I gave no advance warning. It's not anything that I wanted to stage and say, oh, you need to have that place clean. I want to see what it looks like. I want you to see what it looks like so that you know, okay, can it be done? Can I manage something from a distance like that? You can. Now, my wife really doesn't spend any time with this. Nobody does. I mean, it basically handles itself. We got Lisa in our office who will take care of taking an application for people that are wanting to rent from us, and she takes care of that end of it. Izzy will address any maintenance issue he sees when he comes here on a weekly or bi-weekly basis. So you'll see here we have one dumpster there, and then we have one dumpster down there. Those dumpsters are just dumped one time a week. If they were to fill up faster, we would dump them twice a week, but it's just a cheap enclosure around them just to remove the eyesore a little bit. But really, when you look at the property, I mean, with no notice, it's a clean property. It's not bad. You know, I saw a set of blinds over here that I looked at and it looked a little rickety, but somebody's probably living there, and if they break the blinds while they're there, we don't replace them, but we'll replace them when they move out. And that's part of their renter's insurance will cover that. So each one of these, most apartment complexes will have to do some type of meter-based third-party meter reading on it. Each one of these units have their own meter. So that right there, if you look at it, it's got 26 and 28 right there. Each one of the meter boxes are labeled, and we don't have anything to do with their water. They cover their own water, they cover their own electricity. There's no outside billing for us. We don't have to bill anybody anything. We collect the rent, and that's it. So this one right here is 24 units that are one bedroom, one bath. So when I bought this, there was big trees like you saw in the front of the property, everywhere on this property.
Huge fat trees.
Yeah, and they were in bad shape, and it just looked trashy. I cut every single one of them down. And the only ones I left up on the front were the ones by the gate, and that's it. Everything else was taken down. There's a couple of scraggly trees right there, but they need to be cut down also.
And what's the thought process behind that, besides aesthetics?
The other trees were just in bad shape. All these leaves, they had trees around all these buildings, and there's mold, there's crap everywhere from these trees. You got to deal with the leaves. You got to deal with so many different things that it costs you money, and all of that money that it costs you comes off of your profit. So here's a funny story. I'm going to show y'all in a little while. I'm going to show you a retention pond that we mowed when we bought the neighborhood behind us. You see these trees? When they cut it, we had a rattlesnake infestation on this piece of property for about 3 weeks.
Oh God.
Every time we turned around, somebody was calling about a rattlesnake. There was rattlesnakes in the trees, they were in the bushes, they were in the hallways, they were everywhere.
That's bad.
And it was one grass cutting in that thing that did that. So it let us know that we need to really maintain that retention pond. I didn't own it before then, so I couldn't maintain it. And really, what do you do with the rattlesnakes?
Animal control?
There really is no animal control here. So we were catching them, and you can't kill them. It's against the law to kill rattlesnakes. So you're caught in
what do you do?
catch-22.
Yes, just take them out to the woods.
Wendell took care of them. He rehomed them to Alabama.
Yeah, right over there.
So Christina and I, whenever we did this right here, I spent a year here. So Bridgeport, Alabama is right across that fence. We get into Bridgeport, Alabama. So I moved here. I rented an apartment in Bridgeport, and we stayed there until I finished this apartment right here. There's that is 8 units that's in that building right there. And the top left-hand unit, I moved into as soon as it was done. So I moved into it, I lived in that unit. I didn't go home at all. Christina would come up here and visit me and see me, and then she would go back home. And she was taking care of everything in Nashville. And then once we finished that and this apartment complex was done, then I went back to Nashville. Well, she started Airbnb in our house in 2019. And when she started Airbnb in the house, when I went home, it was a crap show because it was a big house and there would be 30, 40 people staying there at night. And it was bad. It was bad. I mean, it was 8 bedrooms, 8.5 baths. There would be 3 and 4 families that would all come together and they would stay there because they had a really nice pool outside, and
It's a
it was
family
just,
reunion.
but there was a 2-bedroom apartment in a basement. So after about 2 weeks of that, I called her up. I said, I'm out of here. I said, I'm not staying. I bought an old camper and did a little work to it, and I moved that camper over to the piece of property we live on now. And I started construction of the house, and I stayed in the camper because it just, I could not, I mean, people, they go on vacation, they go on vacation to vacation. They're up all night, they ain't seen their family in forever, they're not going to bed at night. When Christina came here, she came here for the next year, but it wasn't quite like me. She would come home every other weekend or so, but we would stay in the camper on the piece of property. So, you know, that was our life for a 2-year period of time. It was very much in transit of where we was going to stay and what we was going to do and how everything was going to play out.
You intend on keeping this forever?
I'm going to keep it till I don't. What? That's true, right? 100% accurate. I will own this property until I don't. So here's something interesting. So the siding on this property, it's a real heavy vinyl, and it has 3/4 of an inch of hardback insulation behind every single piece. And we did that. I really wanted to I wanted to brick it. And then somebody told me, I said, just use this right here. It'll hold up for 20, 30 years. You won't have any problems with it. Just use this. And we put that on, and it's held up pretty good. But I wish I had a piece of it I could show you, but it's just real thick. So we put barbecue grills like this in every building, 2 of them in the bigger building, so that we don't want people to bring their own barbecue grills. Now, I do see a couple of people that have barbecue grills, but they're not supposed to have a barbecue grill because we just don't want people to wind up burning anything down. So I don't think you can really see this right here, but this has a poured insulation that is behind it. And then also that insulation covers all of this right here too. So it's just real solid. Same thing here as over there. We got the air conditioners in the fence. Let's look at the electrical service. So if you look at all the electrical services as we've passed by, each individual building has a brand new service too. So we replaced every service on every building because they were all outdated. They were outdated, they were in bad shape. They didn't require me to replace all of them, but I saw that as just a potential problem. And I think it cost me probably $40,000 to replace them all, but it was worth the $40,000 investment to not have to worry about it. And we were replacing all the wiring anyway, and we replaced all the electrical boxes inside, we replaced all of the plumbing inside, we replaced it all. Why would I leave a box here? It was old enough that they were struggling with breakers on it. There was different parts missing from the panels and stuff like that, and that was all across the whole building. So we just needed to take care of that.
Because some people would just wait for that to be a problem before spending the money.
But then you're in an emergency to fix it. Maybe right now I probably would have never had to work on any of them yet. But I'm a long-term investor. So I look at all that and I say, well, I'd rather fix it now than have a crisis situation when I got to fix it some other time. That's just me. I don't want the concern. I don't want the worry of it. You did ask the question, will I hold these? So I have 3 years left on a HUD contract on the neighborhood behind us. Probably when that neighborhood is offered a HUD contract, I may try and sell the neighborhood and this as one deal.
Okay.
I wouldn't sell them separately. I would sell them together. So if I found a buyer that wanted to buy both of them, then I would consider that. I've had a couple of people call me about it, wanting to buy it, but I'm not going to cut them loose for nothing. So I would have to, I think I told them $15 million if I was going to sell it right now.